lineup question, because you don't usually change it up too often, but you got a little different look in there today. What kind of went into bringing Victor back in and moving some guys around?
Yeah, I mean, really, Victor's just the only change, and you know, looking at you know, how he has swung the bat, and I think more or less the energy he brings to our club and the energy he brings to the lineup, and you know, some of the things he can do on the bases and whatnot. So a chance to get him in there today, and you know, kind of you know, again, make a little bit of an adjustment, change things up a little bit.
Going to the front left here, Dan.
Dan, a lot of your guys have talked about embracing the pressure and the expectations of the stakes. I know that might be stressful to do at times, especially from your vantage point, but why can that be beneficial to have that mentality?
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, it's number one, it's undeniable. I mean, there is, you know, that it does exist, and you're not human if you don't feel some of that. You know, for a Game 7, we've kind of gone through it in Game 5, and you know, we talked about understanding it and you know, at least acknowledging that there's something on the line, and then being able to channel that in the right direction, I think is key. And you know, these guys have done that all season long. We've been in situations, you know, particularly down the stretch in September, where you've kind of had to win. You know, you had to win that night, and I think these guys have developed a good strategy on how to deal with that. And so you know, that's all part of embracing what's ahead of us. And tonight, you know, Game 7, it's an incredible opportunity, and I think these guys see that for that, and you know, we'll go out there and do what they do.
Go to Brady in the middle.
Dan, did you give any consideration to starting Brian at all today? And if you bring him in relief, would you do so at the beginning of an inning? Could you see him in the middle of an inning? How would you see him being used?
Yeah, you know, I think you know, this was you know, George's game tonight. I think you know, that's where we had kind of gone all along. And you know, in terms of the bullpen tonight, you know, it you know, we say all hands on deck. It's definitely that tonight. You know. We'll have just about everybody down there, just about everybody available. So, you know, I think how we use them, how it looks, will depend largely on how the game rolls out. But I think that the thing that is the most exciting is just, you know, the guys want the ball. They want to be in there. They want to be the guy to be, you know, in the moment. And you know, that's we've got a bullpen full of guys that want that, and that's the good news.
We'll go in the back to Ryan.
Dan, with all those guys available, like, what is optimal for George? Is it one time through the lineup, and how many different looks do you want to give Vlad if you do pitch to him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we have a you know, a set you know, thing for George tonight. You know, George is he rises to the occasion often, and you know, we hope that you know, George can go 6 or 7 for us. That would be, you know, ideal. But we'll just, you know, again, see how the game unfolds. You know, in terms of Vladdy, like, you know, he has swung the bat extremely well, and this postseason has been, you know, no exception to that, and a guy that's been very dangerous. So again, as we talked about a little bit last night, a guy that you have to be very wary of there in the middle of the lineup, and you know, I think that is something that we will definitely consider as we go forward tonight.
Go right in the front, Curtis.
Dan, it's been kind of rare that George has had an outing where he's kind of got rocked like that last time around. What have you seen in the moments where he has his ability to kind of work through that and bounce back, and how different is it when it's the same lineup that he's going to face the next time around?
Yeah, I mean, you know, George is, you know, I think, you know, we've seen him rise to the occasion, and you know, I think tonight's game, you know, in terms of what's riding on it, the emotion that's going into it. All those things, I think George does a very good job of handling and turning into a positive. And so tonight, I foresee George going out there and doing what he does at a high level, and that, you know, getting ahead with quality strikes, you know, and creating that either weak contact or swing and miss like he does. And you know, that's the George that we have seen in big games, and that's the George that we hope to see tonight.
Go in the back left, Aaron.
Dan, we've seen the Blue Jays lineup get hits when it's over the plate, get hits when it's on the edges, get hits when it's outside the strike zone. With all the strikes, obviously, the Mariners throw, it comes down to tonight. How do you best approach a lineup that 1 through 9, mostly 1 through 9, has the ability to hit it far and also just make great contact? How do you go about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the challenge. But again, I think keeping the count in our favor and making good pitches when we're ahead, and getting them to hit the pitches that we want them to hit. And that's really what pitchers try to do anyway, and that's what we're going to try to do with this lineup tonight. They're not always going to get hits off the plate. And more times than not, they'll get weak contact on those, or swing and miss. So that's how we're going to attack it. And I think as a pitching staff, bullpen and starters, that's our strength. And I think at this stage of the game and going into a Game 7, you go to your strengths, and I know George is going to go to that and continue to be successful.
Go to Aaron right in the middle.
Dan, what is your message to the team tonight? What are you going to say in the clubhouse prior to them going out?
Yeah, I mean, just remind them who they are. This is a team that has come a long way, and just remind them of the things that they do well. And I think we've talked about it a lot, but before games and before big games, we've talked about identity a lot as a club, and these guys. Just going out there and doing the things that have helped them be successful all season long, and offensively, getting runners on base, grinding out at bats, driving the ball into gaps, and then on the mound, attacking the zone with quality pitches and inducing the weak contact or swing and miss. I mean, that is what we do, and that is how we'll win Game 7 as well.
Anything else for Dan? All right, Dan. Thanks for coming in.
Yep, thanks.